For the past 3 years, the Highline Racing League has done short track racing just a little bit differently, and it comes in the fashion of its qualifying procedure. We've done for the longest time heat racing, which means that drivers would take shorter races to lock themselves in, and thanks to that, we'd have a smaller field. That is not the case tonight, and for the first time in more than 3 years, we will have a field of 30-plus drivers racing at a short circuit. The number 34. So, 9 above what we usually cut out. The Highline Racing League is back in action, and fresh off the first 2 races of the season, Tyler Hampton getting his first win of the year. It's about time to go back to the under-mile circuits, some of the smallest venues we have, and our first stop on that journey is Richmond, Virginia. This is the Richmond Raceway. Welcome back to FTN Broadcasting. I'll be your host. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and we're looking forward to what is supposed to be a good one. That's without question. But what also it will be is a test run for the rest of the season as we try going back to a more traditional route for our qualifying procedures at any venue. And of course, one of which it would be Richmond, Martinsville, also possibility, or the fairgrounds. I mean, the way things are going right now, we could see any of those circuits on the schedule. The randomizer means it could happen whenever. 2 minutes left on the clock. Bronson Stafford, for the time being, has himself on the provisional pole position. He is 25 thousandths of a second up on the clock, ahead of Alan Kunman. Chad Winstead for P3, Hampton for 4th, and Dylan Poteet wraps up the top 5 as it stands. Here's Wedgwood. Dylan Wedgwood, 14th place after his first and second laps. Tom Bourne goes up to 8th on that last lap he put in, so a great run from that Toyota Camry, as the 96 has been off to a great start for his season and, of course, his career in this league. Wonderful to watch him grow and develop, as, of course, 2nd place to begin his career at Daytona. That's the type of run that, all things considered, you don't often get. You don't often get the opportunity as a rookie to start the season well. Daytona, a little bit easier to do so, but Bourne was a top 10 driver last week all the same. Dylan Wedgwood still taking times here with a minute left on the clock. Got some returning faces, and of course, here's one that we got to look out for. Corey Blevins, an early retiree, perhaps a little bit too early for his liking, I would say. He ended up bowing out outside of the top 30 last week. To win tonight, of course, would be remarkable. His last win in this series came at a short track, and that came during the heat racing era. First lap, going to put him in at 21st. Second, no improvements. He is now tied up with Josh Christman on time with 21.687 second lap. Wedgwood still on the way, likewise is Blevins, and it looks like now they're the only 2 going at it. Roberto Ramirez only gets 1,000th of a second up on Chad Winstead, but that is the difference maker that's necessary, and it will take him up into P3. They're still both going to be on the second row regardless. Then you got Hampton and Stagner for row 3. Dylan Poteet and Ryan Potter are the final drivers within 1/10 of a second, so we got a pretty large spread when it comes to time. You got 31 drivers who've taken the time, spread by about a second's worth from top to bottom. Nevertheless, it looks like we're going to have ourselves a first-time pole sitter in the form of Bronson Stafford. Stafford, the number 61, takes it up to the pole position for the first time in his career. Qualifying time, the best of the best, a 21.44 second run. It is Stafford for P1 from the action track. He'll qualify up front, and now let's see what happens here as he has to take the field, set the pace, and let it begin under his conditions. iRacing pace car. Kenny Brooks at the back of the field. Brooks will ride the ultimate shotgun position tonight. He is in 34th and last of all drivers. Did not take a time, and so he will be sorted to the back of the field automatically. Looking at Adam Bozzi. Matthew Rodriguez up and in front. There's Dylan Poteet. Poteet almost coming away with a shock victory last week. Eventually, though, it was Hampton who was able to take the win. He got it up there for his first of the season. DJ Stagner did the week before. It looks like they are lined up together now. And there is your front row and the most important two drivers to get things started, Bronson Stafford and Alan Kunman. Last time we went racing in Virginia, Alan Kunman came away a race winner, and Bronson Stafford doesn't have the track record to back himself up of. Nevertheless, he will find himself your pole position for tonight. Let's get to know the rest of the starting grid and go from there, with third place being Roberto Ramirez and Chad Winstead, the former champion. He's there in P4. Tyler Hampton and DJ Stagner are the only winners so far this season. Hampton getting the job done in Sin City. Stagner, the world center of racing, and your winning men this year. Of course, both of them race-winning caliber every week. There, your row three. Dylan Poteet and Ryan Potter, one of them with Hula Monkey Motorsport, and the other for Potter is right behind DJ Stagner. He'll line up in 8th. Potter, Poteet is in 7th, and Tom Bourne in the 96. So far, vying for Rookie of the Year honors, 9th place to Matthew Rodriguez in 10th. 11th place on the order will be immediately after, and that is Adam Bozzi. Defending champion Lucas Lodato starts in 12th, Terry Brooks 13th, and Dawson Buchanan 14th place, with Robert Kenny in his first start of the season 15th, and Dylan Wedgwood P16. 17th on the order is going to be Justin Baxter, with Jim Fott 18th, Matt Muir 19th, and Josh Christman wrapping up the top 10. Then, of course, that's going to be the top 20. Top 10 rows ends at 20th, 11th row, 21st and 22nd. Corey Blevins and Ty Smith see Jimmy McKee, Scott Selner, and Joey Chapman end the top 25 with Sebastian Miller. Then, the number 13, Nicholas Blackerby. Then Toby Wedgwood, Sean Billman, and the Jonestown Jet, Caleb Morrissey for 30th. Usually we don't have more than 25 at these short circuits. Final drivers, your last four: Colton Gardner, Scott Wheeler, Jacob Holm, and Kenny Brooks in the number 54. 150 laps of racing from the action track. This is Richmond, Virginia. This is the Highline Racing League, and this is the main feature. Top of the board, Stafford in the 61. Coming to the green this time by conditions tonight are going to be pretty fair for the drivers. Ambient temperature is 73, track temp of 75. Cloudy skies, but you can't see them because the lights have gone out. Now, with a packed grandstand, passing them by, 34 drivers, the biggest short track field we've had in years. Doing the honors, Bronson Stafford and Alan Kunman, bringing them to green. We are underway, bigger and better than ever from Richmond. As they roll, Alan Kunman gets a much better jump on the outside. It brings him up to first. Chad Winstead going to do more of the same. And Nick Leach in the chat room looking out for the East Carolina Pirates tonight. It looks like so far quick to steal a position or another one, make it a position or two. Chad Winstead is up to second and firmly now, and that's how he'll get the ball rolling in the number 60. Roberto Ramirez in the 42, finding himself in fourth. A quick pass from Tyler Hampton is going to send him down to P5, and some early shuffles in the top 5. Most placements, actually, except for 5th place, which is currently going to be Tyler Hampton. Everyone has shuffled up at least once, and with Hampton coming across the line now, he will be no exception. Top 10, though, does remain almost exactly the same. The only big exception now is going to be 8th down to 28th, and that is Ryan Potter. Potter finding himself at the back of the field. Let's explain why. He has an end-of-line penalty he had to serve, so even though he qualified in that placement, he didn't end up going to that spot to start this race. Potter is going to find himself working his way up, and while he qualified P8, not going to get the benefits of it, and he now has to make it up through the field. The Tropicana number 99, maybe more fitting for Chicagoland if it came on the schedule. But either way, this 99 car looking stronger than usual, and it's great to see the swamp with multiple good cars. They are a team that have primarily been off the back of DJ Stagner, historically speaking, or, as of late, Lucas Lodato, who has become perhaps the best driver of the year so far. And I would be hard-pressed to say, even if he doesn't win the championship, I would be very shocked if anyone can match the performance he had last season, where he was, especially in the beginning of the season, indomitable. And he was with his Swamp Motorsport guys, including Holden and Stagner and Miller, all of which were able to get to victory lane, and all of which doing so with this competitive nature that was never matched by any other team. I don't think we have seen it in several years. You could go back to the Four Horsemen and the days of Scott Wheeler winning back-to-back championships, and then Scott Zellner becoming the best guy with the Gen 4 stock cars. You could go back to that period, but even then there was a break in between because Alan Kunman collected a championship for another organization. I would say that the Swamp just outright had the best season on paper of any of the last 6 seasons, and that is a multi-year time span that's coming up on its 3rd full year. So Lodato, a lot to be proud of in that respect. He's up 6 places, as a matter of fact. He's the only driver to qualify outside of the top 10 and be there for now. So again, the champ, looking to go for 2 consecutive, has proven that he's still got it. Cord Blevins with problems, and we hate saying it because this time around it really wasn't in his control. Internet disconnection, which means he fell down to 33rd, and he was the final driver to start. Jacob Hom, while registered, did not get to the green flag, and so it looks like, for all intents and purposes, it is Corey Blevins running basically last. He's 9 laps down as they roll. So we'll see what Corey can do as the night goes on. The job is not finished, but without a doubt, it's going to be a lot harder. Corey would have qualified in at 21st place, a position currently occupied by Justin Baxter in the number 58. Josh Chrisman seeing contact as Dylan Wedgwood down the track, involved with, it looks like, Jim Fott. Cautions out. 21 on the 14. Yellow for the first time today at lap number 12. Take a look at this. Side by side. Yep, too little room. Fott and Wedgwood found each other, unfortunately, as Fott tried to turn out of the corner. Dylan Wedgwood sent for a wild ride. Take a ride on board, as a matter of fact, with Dylan here. Dylan Wedgwood, unfortunately the first driver to make contact with the barriers here at the Richmond Raceway, and while it looks like he got away with it with minimal damage, he's got to come down and in. The most crumpling he has looks to be on the right rear, as you can see. Otherwise, he got away from it better than it could have been. I mean, it's better to get that backside than it is the front, because when you hit the front, that's the engine. The back end can be repaired, and this isn't the highest speed circuit, so aerodynamically speaking, you can afford just a little bit more tolerance than the intermediates or any of the big tracks. Not like Daytona, where a crumple on the back end really jeopardizes you. Alan Kunman seeing the 2-lap to green signal here. Alan getting a great jump. And the top 5, it fully shuffles around. So Alan qualified second. He was on the outside, jumped up, took the race lead, and that's all he's had ever since. Chad Winstead, same goes. He qualified right behind Alan Kunman, and it looks like both of them made out, even not as being the control car, they made out very well in the outer groove. And so the outside guys took the next set of positions. The inside guys were left with the table scraps. This is what sends Bronson Stafford back to 3rd. Tyler Hampton was still able to make up a place. He qualified on the inside in 5th and got by for P4. It's Roberto Ramirez who has dropped down 2. Now is in 5th. I would say the biggest gain of them all, not only in position, but also just shifting the narrative quick, was Chad Winstead. Winstead automatically jumping out of the frame and following Alan Cudman. But now he's going to have to lead his own line. Alan opts to take it up high, which looks to be the preferential groove. Chad Winstead, he's going to be forced down to the bottom. And at most tracks, that's honestly the preferred way to go about it. But Richmond, with that curved front straightaway, means you can really send it in not only deep, but send it in with speed when you're going at it into the corners, especially 1 and 2. The game along for momentum. 1 to green this time by. Caution is slightly extended here just to make sure that everyone's with us. Corey Blevins, by virtue of this caution, is 8 laps down. So we got 1 back. He's going to need quite a few others to get there. But Corey will make up his first lap after his internet failure. Don't give up hope yet if you're coming in and watching for the 2014. The rowdier in the chat room, the outside lane might work here. Last time by, it got the clear victory. Both Winstead and Alan Cudman made gains and took the race lead thanks to it. I wouldn't be surprised right now. Bronson Stafford is feeling good about maybe contending for second. Cudman being the control car, the power is in his hands to start this back up, and how he does it will change a lot. I mean, look at that. Nobody gets away, and the second closest is Winstead. Stafford is blindsided. Green flags out once again at lap 18. Winstead now on double defense. Coming across the line, Allen finding himself advantageous. And as he quickly gets down to the bottom, it's that restart launch that makes the difference. And everyone wants to get down to those lower grooves on the real run. But during the tri-oval, you might see a little bit of change, and that's something that's very common. Alan Cudman just going to let the car glide to the high side, and this is where the banking comes into play, the line of least resistance. Every driver is going to have that goal of just letting the car do more work for them without putting stress on the equipment. The harder you turn, the more you're going to get that tire wear, and with these long runs that we are having the potential of running through, you really don't want to burn out your tire. We have down a pit road 3 extra sets, which honestly is charitable given that we have 150 laps of racing overall. 3 extra sets is charitable. I would say it's a very generous offer by the race control, but either way, you do not want to burn up the stuff you have on the racetrack and force yourself to have that mindset of going in again and again. It will cost you time. So what drivers do, they get up on the exit of turn 4 and they glide up high. You don't want to saw at the wheel. That's going to take away more speed. That's going to burn out your rubber. And you're just going to let the car skate up top. With the curve, of course, the banking, that's what helps out the most. And it's just that natural transition. Caution's out second time tonight. And the problem is all the way at the back of the field, it appears. There's Sean Billman. And here's Colton Gardner. Ty Smith in 27th fades back. Take a look at this. The 18 of Smith was beside his teammate in Ryan Potter, and coming at it 2 just gets loose. Contact from Nicholas Blackerby stacks up into the 14 and the 52. So both the Wedgwoods for the second week in a row are involved in the same wreck at the same time. And most importantly, of course, it's a stack-up. Begins with Ty Smith. Let's take an instant replay from the backside of the 18 and watch the chaos unfold. It just looks like, unfortunately, some driver error gives way to caution number 2. Slide Ty. Can't get out of the way there and is spun around. And everyone else gets out. Ty should be able to stay on the lead lap after this one. He'll head down to pit road, as is Toby Wedgwood. And you can see there Sean Billman as well. And right behind him, Colton Gardner. Caution is out. Alan Cudman, still your race leader. Then you'll have Winstead, Hampton, Stafford, and Lodato, the top 5. Lucas is now up 7 places and has made it from 12th to 5th. To go up 7 on the night. He's the biggest mover. Restart number 2 going to be coming in at about lap 28 here. We're expecting, most likely, to see the caution extended once again, just to organize everyone. We are dealing with lap drivers now. Corey Blevins is one of which. Blevins is now 7 laps down, so he's gotten 2 back. The night is not done for him. I mean, you don't want to see 7 more cautions, but if anything, that could be the big benefit for Corey. The chaos is going to give way to his own safety. Right now, he doesn't have to contend with anyone. He is practically in his own. He doesn't have anyone else on the same lap as him. And with that in mind, he's not going to race aggressively. Here is the 06 of Sean Billman getting on his way down to pit road. 1 lap down as it stands. Caution has been extended. We will be going back green at lap number 28. Alan Cummins takes high again, and he has been committed to doing so. It looks like the expectation is pretty clear. Drivers know the high side is where they want to be to start things off, and so be it. They are not going to move. They are not going to waver, and I don't think that is much of a surprise given how well it has worked out so far, but especially for how well it has worked out for Alan Cummins. Chad was able to get a better run than the drivers behind him on the second row before, but might be a little bit different now with a veteran in Tyler Hampton rather than the rookie in Bronson Stafford. Hunman also had a pretty awkward timing to it. It almost looked like a stutter before he got going. One to green official minute. Alan Cummins as the control car. Every driver's at his jurisdiction. Restart rules stipulate strictly you gotta stay in your lane or pass to the high side. So the inside clamped in because they're no longer in control. The outside has full domain and the written rules are in their favor. Let's see what Alan does now. He got off with a jitter out of turn 4 last time by. He's going to wait it out this time a little while longer, and he gets there at the end of the restart zone. Side by side between Hampton and Chad Winstead. And here we go again. 28 laps in out of 150. It is Cummins who takes it to the points. In the chat room asking who is, of course, our winningest driver, who has the most wins? Well, that answer could go a few different ways. Right now, this season, we're 3 races in, it's tied at 1 apiece between Tyler Hampton and DJ Stagg. On the year, Lucas Lodato has come away with 4 race wins, so he has the most of anyone in 2025 of the league in its existence. 22 race wins for Scott Zellner. He races tonight in pursuit of that 23rd. He is now up to 11th after his first podium of the season last year. Zellner's longevity and versatility will never be matched. I mean, the numbers that he's put up over the next best drivers have been remarkable. I mean, before he took over as the winningest ever driver, nobody even had 10 wins. He's doubled that figure and has exceeded it. Add to that a victory in the preseason for season 16, which was the Coca-Cola 600, or rather our halfway race. So we did a Coke 300, and Zellner came away with the win. Undeniably, Scott Zellner a cut above when it comes to the long-term talent he possesses, but often in the championship races, he is a bridesmaid. He came away second in points last season, and to this point, he has himself again in that position of going on the way up. Championships. Now, this is where wins don't correlate with titles. We have multiple multi-time champions. Alan Cummins, your leader right near, he's a 2-timer, as is Scott Wheeler, as is Scott Zellner. So Wheeler is a back-to-back champion from seasons 13 and 14. Alan Cummins has been able to get the job done twice. 2-time race, of course, winner in his season 15 championship, his most recent of which. And Zellner, he was amazing in the Gen 4 season. That's where it came down for him, season 16. So we got multiple two-time champions. So far, the threshold is 2, and Alan Cumming coming back at a full-time capacity is indicative that maybe we could see someone go out there and try to fight for 3. Not yet has it happened. So right now, 2 championships and 22 race wins is the borderline. That's the cusp of upper success, shall we say. Nobody's beaten those figures to this point. We have a 3-way tie for 2 championships apiece, but otherwise 22 wins is set by one man in Scott Zellner with the 4 horsemen. Tina Lodato in the chat room rooting on Lucas. Lucas today up now 9 places in what has been a strong surge up to the front of the field. SSBB Nightwing in the chat room. Nick Leach as well. Thank you for the time. And you talk about this is iRacing. Yes, it is. So everything that these drivers are feeling inside the car will affect the way it drives. I will say, add a grain of salt, they can rub up very slightly against the wall, and you will see the sparks. They can get away with that, but if you end up slamming the wall or giving it any notable contact, you will feel, of course, either the car tighten up or loosen up. Just depends on what happens, depends on how you have the car set up, and depends on where that contact is registered here. So everything these drivers feel, whether it is car-to-car contact, car-to-environment contact, tire wear, will impact them. They're dealing with the same conditions that stock car drivers deal with in real life. So everything counts. That's why these moves have to be so precise. The restart groove seems to be well defined, but it's very short. It's that racing groove that really gets you going. So far, if anyone's found a good racing groove, it's got to be this man in Alan Cumming, because so far he has not skipped a beat, and he has been the winning man or the leading man for the opening 20 minutes of racing. Matthew Rodriguez, 10th to 4th, a strong, early, commendable effort, and this is what we like to see. Rodriguez now finds himself the second biggest mover inside the top 10. He just got moved back to 3rd in that category because we got a new driver, of course, to look out for. He's a familiar face, but from 24, Scott Zellner, who's up to 9th. Now that is huge. So you're starting to get that infiltration of guys who are making their way back up the ladder. Zellner, one of which, to start all the way back, didn't qualify well. It looks like that race pace is more dominant than that. Most drivers have not gone down a pit road just yet. So if you think it comes down to tire differences, right now it doesn't. These drivers are confident for good reason. They've got themselves on the same rubber as their competitors. So it is survival of the fittest. Whoever's best with what they have will lead, will take position, and so be it. Dawson Buchanan tries to get one and can't quite. Scott Zellner will maintain. About a third of the way through, coming next time by. Now, the interesting thing that's going to happen from here is, of course, how long will the green flag keep itself going? Because if it does go long, we could see these drivers go past halfway. 75 laps, your halfway marker today. The magic number is probably something beyond 75. And when it comes down to the numbers, it absolutely is. So, fuel capacity-wise, these drivers could go 100 miles. They would not go 100 miles until about the 120 mark of this race out of 150. By that point, the tires would be worn out to the point where they wouldn't want to be on the track with the rubber they have. So tires are going to be the bigger concern and not fuel tonight. Everyone can go for a one-stop race as long as the field behaves. That could be the call every driver makes. Now, to add to the fact that this is the first time these drivers have gone down to Richmond in a while here, perhaps the most notorious Richmond race was 2 years ago, 2 summers ago, as a matter of fact. It was season 15, and it was a doozy, to put it lightly. We started at 9:30, as we typically do, and this was in the next-gen stock cars that night. We went until midnight. Scott Zellner ended up getting the win, but it was one of the longest races we've had on record in this modern era, and we went past 12 o'clock. It was a long race, first and foremost. We had a, I believe, 200-lap main feature, after the heats and qualification system, which is what did us in. And to add to that more than a dozen cautions, well, that's where things got dicey. Now, this isn't the next-gen package. This is the third package we have used since then. We've gone from the next-gens to the Gen 4s to the Xfinity cars. We used the Xfinity cars for 2 seasons, and that was a callback to the season 11 and 12 era, and the Gen 4s were a callback to season 13. But the Gen 6 stock cars haven't been given too much love in a long while. So we had to bring those back. This is a new package for these guys. And something we've noticed is that these cars, they drive a lot different from the next gens. At Daytona, they were a lot faster, a little bit harder to control. You were going up to 210 in the draft. Last week at Las Vegas, a lot slower. The 550 package meant that drivers were all in tandem with each other. Very hard to break away. You really had to just have tire to get through. Otherwise, everyone was really even on each other. So far, I want to argue and say that if you're looking at the racing here, I don't think it's dictated by the car. I think it's more dictated by the track. And Richmond is really good with that. You're always going to get some double file racing like what you're seeing right here with Wheeler, Mirror, McKee, and Chrisman, and that's always been regardless of the package. So Richmond is really consistent in that regard because it's not a really high-speed track, so you don't have to restrict, you don't have to lower the horsepower, you're going to be getting similar lap times across the board. Perhaps the only thing that would be a big difference, if anything, would just be the level of control these drivers have from car to car. The Gen 4 stock car had the tendency, since it was high horsepower, to jump out the seam, and you put a little more power in it, and maybe you'd get loose out of control. That was a problem we had a lot when we were racing at Martinsville that season. That race also went considerably longer than it should have. Adam Bozzi got the victory, but not before many leaders, Cunman included, got involved with incidents. So as long as the car is producing an acceptable level of downforce, you're not really going to concern yourself with the setup. It just becomes about how well you know the track. Dawson Buchanan and Adam Bozzi now. They're fighting alongside each other for the 10th position. Still no dice yet. Take a ride on board now with Bozzi and see what's going on, as he now finds himself behind Bronson Stafford. Dawson Buchanan here, watching as Dylan Poteet wavers ever so slightly. And Adam Bozzi with the best seat of the house, of course. In the house, he's got himself right there. DJ Stagner's fallen back into 13th place, so a lot of strong drivers at the very beginning of this one are now outside of the top 10 conversation, of course. Bronson Stafford seeing Buchanan wiggle. Big save! And Dylan Poteet gets away with a pass and keeps his momentum. I don't know how Poteet stayed right there with Adam Bozzi, given the fact he had a driver leaning on him, but he did it. That is unbelievable. 57 laps in out of 150. Dylan Poteet going to keep on pulling away, and watch what happens here as he's beside Adam Bozzi once more. Trying to get that position while Bronson Stafford hangs on for 9th. .58 laps in out of 150. 2 by 2, bottom half of the top 10. No conversation up in front. Alan Cummin has left it to an open and shut discussion. The door opens for about 5 seconds on the restart zone, and then it closes. That's the way it's been so far. Tyler Hampton, however, is not too far behind, and he finds himself runner-up and firmly inside the podium. The podium is separate by about 1.1 seconds. So, give or take a second, slightly more. Tyler Hampton being so far up here, just looking for another good points day here. The championship race. This is what it's going to be all about. Just consistent runs. I don't think you're going to see drivers like Hampton going out here for the win too aggressively, given he already has that victory. If it comes to him, it comes to him, yes, but you don't want to burn up your equipment. Again, this is all going to be a tires game as Hampton goes way high. Lucas Lozado going to watch, and with that little bobble, he gains about 1/10 of a second. Now, as it stands, I don't think we're going to see anyone go for a two-stopper if we remain under green. So that's the answer to the chat room question. What we're looking at right now is going to be that flat one-stop run. What I have to admit, though, is that the yellow flags could make it a one-stopper, a two-stopper. It all depends on how many yellow flags fly and when they fly. Even 40 to 50 lap intervals are convincing when it comes to drivers going down a pit road. So 40 lap intervals multiple times over would be reason to believe drivers can go for it. I don't think it's a competitive call. However, it looks like Robert Kenny is going to go for it. Kenny, who qualified 15th, now finding himself on the way, sponsored by Sim Speed Shop. This is Kenny's first race in 2025. Good to have him back on the racing circuit. Robert makes his move, and as does Sean Billman. So multiple drivers now making calls. Chad Winstead finding himself now in 5th place, and looks like a little bit of a bobble for him, getting him out of the way of this racing lead. Now, what happened for him was a series of just losing positions. Tyler Hampton getting himself closer to Alan Kunman, and you see right now the ECU machine just fading back, and it comes down to that pace, lap over lap. 22.98 that time by for Winstead, 22.783 for Hampton. Several tenths of a second between your 2nd and 5th place drivers, and these two above, literally speaking, they are a cut above pace-wise. Again, if you take a look at the left side of your screen, you'll see who's gone to pit road and when. And so far, 66 laps. So everyone's been on, at the front of the field anyway, since the beginning. Tyler Hampton, a little bit of a breakaway for his competitor up ahead and Alan Kunman. That's just the lappers helping out. It's inadvertently. To this point, 30 drivers on the lead lap, the last of which is going to be Ty Smith. Smith drops down to the apron. I'm not sure what that was, but I'm thinking he just missed pit road. And Smith now going one down, a shot to the bottom, and not even able to get service there. So that's real bad news. That leaves Dylan Wedgwood as the final driver on the lead lap in 29th. Top 10 is separate by 7 seconds. Dylan Wedgwood is wiggling and out of pace relative to his competitor there in Robert Kenny. Dylan Poteet, the final driver, now inside the top 10. So we got a few Dylans on the racetrack again tonight. That's been a same case for a while now. We've had Dylans and Dylans and Dylans, and I think that's just something that we've had every season, no matter the driver it is or who else is racing. Dylans are a common commodity, and if we had all of them, we would have about 4 or 5 on the racetrack at once, but not every Dylan can come out to play at the very same time. Poteet, however, is outperforming in that category as he leads all Dylans in race pace, running in 10th, leads them in qualifying in this race in 7th, and is the closest to your race leader, 7 seconds back. So when it comes to the Dylans this season, Poteet has been so far the best of them. Dylan Wedgwood has just been caught in some early misfortune on the season, multiple incidents, and they have, for the most part, not been of his doing or really of his own belonging, and has been a bystander to the system. Matthew Rodriguez coming in at lap number 71 here. Magic number 75 to affirm a driver can go the rest of the way. However, I don't think they need to hit that magic number. They just need to come in around now if they want to get that cycle for the second half. Tyler Hampton, 5th up to 2nd. Trying to get closer again. Alan Kunman, take a look on board. And matter of fact, take a lap on board now with the number 8 of Alan Kunman just ahead. It's Tyler Hampton watching cautions out. Yellow flag for the 3rd time today. This is going to get everyone down to pit road. It's Scott Wheeler. Wheeler sliding out of control. It looks like he might have gotten away damage-free. Take a look. Contact with Justin Baxter. Baxter gets the backside of the wall. Wheeler kisses it with the front end. Both, however, do get contact. Take a look from Wheeler's perspective. Scott ending up getting that luckier tap. But in the meanwhile, drivers are coming down a pit road. Alan Cumming, the first of which, Tyler Hampton, Lucas Lodato, then Chad Winstead, all coming down the alley. This is going to be the most important pit stop cycle of the night, the only one we can guarantee they'll need, and the only one that these drivers might get. Nothing's guaranteed from here. Make the most of this opportunity. Cudman gets it in, gets it out. Tyler Hampton, then you'll see after him, Roberto Ramirez, Chad Winstead, and Lucas Lodato. Tom Bourne goes 6th, Zellner 7th, with Adam Bozzi, Dylan Poteet, and lastly, Bronson Stafford, number 61. So, same leader, and looks like the same front row to go at it again. Cunman getting that 2-lap to green signal this time by as we get a few drivers back into the picture. Unfortunately for Corey Blevins, I don't think you're going to see him for the rest of the night. 21st down to 33rd. He is 53 laps down, which leaves us with 2 off the lead lap. Nicholas Blackerby and Sean Billman. They are 1 lap down respectively. Billman now looking to come around as their lucky dog to get back with the leaders. 75 laps to go. Going to be coming to 74 up next. Looking like some server troubles there, as drivers blipping in and out. Yellow flag flies. 74 laps to go. And for the time being, it looks like everything's still solid on the racing circuit. 1 to green extended for that 1 extra lap. Billman to the back of the field, so he will be back with these drivers looking to go for the lead lap. Biggest mover in your top 10, 24th up to 6th, 18 spots gained. It's the big man and Scott Zellner, the winningest ever. And who else but Scott to lead that charge and making it so far up the field. Not too far behind is Jimmy McKee. McKee has made it up a lot further than he's been for the majority of the night. And Jimmy, working with those 4 horsemen guys as of late, seen a few different team alliances realign for the next coming season and beyond. McKee is coming into what is already a powerhouse program with Caleb Morrissey, a multi-time race winner, and 2 two-time champions in the form of Scott Wheeler and Scott Zellner. The Flying Scotsman acquire McKee. That's a big deal. And without a doubt, the type of team that could go out there and win races on a week-to-week basis if they put everything together. Alan Cumming into the 8, set to get the ball rolling once again. The outside groove wins convincingly the restart jump. Second half of the race is underway. We're green with 72 laps remaining. Winstead swerves down to the bottom. Give you a nice move there for the number 60 car. And the East Carolina Pirates machine quick to take those spots back. Tyler Hampton, 0.2 of a second off. Now you got to look at the midfield. It's going to be the Hornets' nest where everything gets tense. DJ Stagner close on Dawson Buchanan. Josh Crispin, the 86, runs 14th. Morrissey tries to take it. They go 3 wide briefly with Matt Muir. No dice, can't get it there. Once again, with 71 laps remaining. It's just that back and forth shuffle, but no guarantee really that anyone can do anything with what we're seeing here, and that's the big issue. Take a ride on board with Chrisman. Actually, look at the backside. He's got to do double defense here, the high and the low, with Wheeler and Matt Muir. Matt Muir is there, and that's the trouble, because Caleb Morrissey boxes him up to the high side, and as you ride on board Chrisman, it is rather intense. Buchanan sliding to the inside, nobody else involved. Call on the field is a caution. Yellow flags out, the 4 of Buchanan goes sliding, and we're at a standstill. So it looks like just slipping out of 4. And there's nothing else that comes with it, just the driver error there. Luckily, everyone else gets away with no conflict. Dawson Buchanan in the 4 car with some struggles. Now, that comes by virtue of those clean tires and those cool tires. That might not sound like it makes sense to begin with, but as we ride on board here, Buchanan, let's explain exactly what's going on. Buchanan's tires, much like everyone else's, brand new, haven't been warmed up. A little bit of a nudge there from Brooks doesn't help either. As Dawson went into the corner here, he was looking to push on the way out and get the pass, but didn't account for the fact the grip wasn't there. And when you're on that old rubber, you're very comfortable with what you're doing. When you don't have that old rubber and you don't have that warmth, that's the big problem. I don't think what happened there with Brooks would have made much of a difference. That was just door-to-door at speed, so minimal impact, if any. But for the number 4 Buchanan, tire age actually worked against him with newer rubber there. I don't believe that if he had old tires, he would have spun there. Just didn't have the groove in, didn't have the heat to make it adhesive. It's almost like glue. It's almost like sticking onto the racetrack at the same time that you're racing on it. Coming out of what'll be 2 laps to green. Lucky dog is due to be Nicholas Blackerby. Thanks to that situation, he's coming around this time by. Blackerby comes around. That's going to be another driver, your 31st on the lead lap. The only driver who is off the lead lap and still racing, it's going to be Sean Billman, 29th down to 32nd. He is only 1 down. .65 laps remaining. Billman, the 06 here, runs at the top, of course, the lead lappers when he goes around. Bottom standing wise, but for the lead lap, when he cycles up, he will lead at the pace car. That's what happened there with Blackerby as he goes up and down. He finds himself now technically in front, although he's at the end of the lead lap. As that cycle, the lucky dog, takes a while. For Dawson Buchanan anyway, he had to literally ride at the head of the field. Now, that's no longer the case. It looks like everything is sorted. Choose cone going to be used. Everyone chooses where they like to go. Alan Cumming in his high side, he's had an unbelievable lap. Of course, restart after restart. And we talk about individual laps. Well, cumulatively, he has led every lap of this race so far. And to this point, his fastest lap is a 21.468. Now, is that the overall fastest? When we compare it to Tyler Hampton, it is a 1/10 of a second quicker than what Hampton has put down. And with Tyler being the only real comparison pace-wise, it goes to show Allen is in a world of his own. Competitively speaking, nobody else has been able to make it happen. Alan Cumming getting the heat in there. He does not want to replicate what happened on that most recent incident for Dawson Buchanan. So he's going to make a point to exaggerate his movements and warm himself up. That works out a lot more with the stock cars. You see sometimes in open wheel racing, drivers using the brakes and the motor to really heat things up. Oh, Cumming with some internet troubles. That did him in last week. Hopefully it does not again. Every time Tyler Hampton tries, he can't get it. Alan Cumming restarting again to the head of the field, and it's all his for the second restart of the second half. 62 laps remaining, more than halfway in. Here we go again, although Tyler's closer than he's been all night long. Coming out of turn 4, Hampton almost leading that lap. Alan Cumming still able to use the high side to go clear into 1 and 2. But it's not an easy fight any longer. Allen is now feeling the heat. And Tyler knows it. Clear that time behind. Number 5 of Hampton fades back. Lucas Lodato maintains third. That's up 9 places on the day for the Lodato crew. Roberto Ramirez, third down to 4th. Been able to take it back up on Chad Winstead, though, so that's not a concern. Yellow flag's out again. It's going to be Tom Bourne in the number 96. Take a look back. And a fast lockup into Ty Smith there. One more time and a full lap replay with Bourne. As Bourne got caught in the middle, this is when things got dicey. Locked it down because he got the back end of Dylan Wedgwood, made side contact with Justin Baxter, and then got sent up the track at the end by Ty Smith. So nothing intentional there, but just a sour chain reaction that sends Bourne to the back of the field. Think he'll be able to recover, yes, but still a pretty bad turn of events there. Just being back and forth ping-ponged, and to a degree we really didn't expect to see. Luckily, Bourne will get through that one, go down to pit road, and maintain on the lead lap. That's going to save Sean Billman, because now Billman will be able to cycle up to the front. So for Sean, he will go back on the lead lap, and that will give us 32 of 33 starters on the lead lap after 58 lap to go marker has been hit. After 93 complete laps, and it'll be 95 when we restart. That is remarkable. Sean Billman on the outside. Now on the lead lap, he will join the rest of the field. And it is a remarkable feat to see so many drivers still on the lead lap. More than 30, almost 35. It's time for business. In the crunch time, I mean, it's going to be a long haul, but that's going to be whether or not it's drawn out by cautions. Because if it's not, it could be a short sprint. Yellow flags have become a little bit more common as of late. Hopefully we can break away from that and bring it back into business. Coming to 2 laps to green. Expecting to see that 1 lap extension as we secure everyone's placement. Shoes rule has been in effect all night long, man. It's been pretty obvious the decisions that Cumming has made. The outside, which has been his game changer, well, he's just kept using it. However, that time by, we saw what was the most competitive run out of any other driver in Tyler Hampton. Hampton was only a thousandth, or rather a few thousandths away from taking the overall race lead. And if he's that close right now, is that a sign that Alan Cumming is faltering? And could it mean that Hampton could go even further than that? Maybe, just maybe, lead a lap? To this point, Cumming has led more than half the race already. And he would like to go for at least a Centurion mark. I think, of course, the end goal now is to just finish the race off flag to flag. .55 remaining, coming to lap number 97 for Alan Cumming and the 8 team Of course, this has been the dream team so far today, but you gotta watch out. Lucas Lodato for the Swamp. He's led them so far today. DJ Stagner, who qualified 6th, has fallen back, and in his place, Lucas Lodato has gotten it on the up and up. Could Lucas be another winner for the Swamp, the second winner of the season? And could the Swamp Motorsports crew then be the first team to have multiple race winners in this 20th season? That's all up to Alan Cutman, though, as he gets a rocket ship launch. Maybe his best of the night with 54 laps to go. Cautions out pretty quickly. Back of the field, and this one's going to be multi-car contact with Gardner, Blackerby, Robert Kenny. Watch this. So Robert saw Tom Bourne and Toby Wedgwood involved. Then Kenny gets into Blackerby, Colton Gardner as well. So for the second time, Tom Bourne in an incident. Watch what happened to the rookie here. And it looks like he tried to split between Ty and Toby. Second guessed it, backed off, and ended up spinning around. Gardner, Blackerby, and the number 13 gets a pretty bad piece here. Watches it from ahead, and then Robert Kenny gets set into it, and Blackerby is squeezed 3 wide. Caution's out with 52 laps to go, and it looks like the decision on the field is to stay out for Cutman, Hampton, Lodato, and company. The leaders will maintain. It looks like they're interested in keeping that track position. Top 20, all going to do the exact same thing here. From there on back, you're going to have a few different changes in mind. You'll see the 24 spot, Justin Baxter. Baxter decides to head down to pit road, as does a few others, including Tom Bourne and Sean Billen. They've all gone down more recently than those around them. But the top 20 have decided, yes, they're going to stay out here, so track position will be king with less than 50 laps remaining as we go green next time by. Before we go green, we're going to bring you some non-stop coverage live on FTN, so you won't miss a thing. On the right side of your screen will still be the caution coverage, but until then, we got some promotional messages from the people who make FTN happen on a week-to-week basis. Thank you for tuning in to the Highline Racing League Services and Supply Premier Series from the Richmond Raceway. You won't miss a thing. We'll be right back after this for a restart with under 50 laps remaining. Stay tuned.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Eight laps to go for Alan Cutman, who so far has led over 100 consecutive laps en route to a dominating performance. Now, can he finish the job? Let's find out. Green flag is out once again for Cutman. He'll have Tyler Hampton behind. We are back underway from Richmond. 24th up to 6, Scott Zellner now looking for an opportunity on Chad Winstead. He'll drop down and in. Here we go, side by side, and it looks like it's going to be ever so slightly an advantage for Winstead down the line, but at the start-finish anyway, Scott Zellner was 100th of a second up. Corner to corner, turn to turn, the big problem is whether or not you have your line. If you're on the outside, you probably have the edge through the corners, but it also means that you have that traditional advantage down the straights if you're going side by side. But if you're alone, the inside is everything. If you can get down there and maximize your turns, it's a completely different deal. It's a completely different ball game, in fact. Side by side, very different. Now, what's going on right now, of course, what you see here up in front, it's a whole different strategy from even the beginning of this race, where Alan Cummin right now, he holds his own, getting himself advantageous, and he does not concern himself with what's behind. Earlier on, he had to, but right now, it looks like he's just been hitting his marks. All the while, Tyler Hampton has been moved right behind into third. That's why Lucas Lodato now runs in second. Lucas now finding himself within a half second of the race lead. 45 laps to go. And here we have it. Lodato up to second, the highest spot he's running all night long, and he's even been able to get by Hampton. And just a few restarts to go, Hampton was putting down the pressure to swipe the race lead. So it has us wondering, either Alan Cummin has a few more tricks up his sleeve, or at this point, Lucas Lodato might be the last hope the field has to catch up to Alan. It could be a little bit of both, because Lucas has now commandingly taken that second place, and Tyler Hampton has not shown any signs of rebuttal. If he's got it in him, I think we would see it by now. He just hasn't shown us a sign of anything real similar to that. 32nd up to 13th is what we've seen out of Scott Wheeler, though. Even with some of Wheeler's troubles, it looks like tonight has been an above-average race. Scott is still looking for what could be a cathartic race win. It's been since the end of season 15 winless, and for a champion, a multi-time champion at that, who looked to be on the verge of what could have been 3 consecutive at the end of season 15, it's a shock that he has not been able to produce at that same level for now more than 2 years. To win 2 back-to-back championships and go for multiple race wins on the season following that, and then just not do it over again, it's a big wonder as to what's happened now for the Wheeler crew. However, just trying to get a good night in and solidly improve in the point standings, racing like this is not a bad way to do it. Again, Wheeler is not completely fallen off the ladder. He is still, on any given week, a top 10 capable guy with top 5 attributes, as we've seen before. But the racing style tonight, based on what we've seen from him historically, I don't think it suits him too well. He always goes well with a long-form strategy, and a caution like that will not assist him. Yellow flag's out. It's going to be Toby Wedgwood in the 52. Wedgwood sees the yellow. Caution's out. Watch this. Sliding up through 1 and 2. Oh, nearly making contact with Dylan there. And the family affair. Unfortunately, we've only talked about it in a negative context, and that could have been another example. Take a ride on board with Dylan there as Toby came up and down. Watch what happens in moments like that, and luckily 2 sides to the same story for the Wedgwoods. Dylan, although he's a little bit battered up, he's got himself at least a better chance now after not getting involved in that contact. Look at the 13 drivers who decided to stay out on the circuit. Bronson Stafford from 14th on down in the number 61. Looks like he'll be one of the first of many to make it in here. Matt Muir. Then with them, Dylan Poteet, Chad Winstead, and Scott Wheeler. So Wheeler is actually going to jump up a little bit there. There is Toby Wedgwood. Wedgwood being the last holdout, Wheeler being the first of which on new rubber. So an interesting call for Scott, as it looks like he's going to elevate himself and get in front. Scott Wheeler, 14th place, the first of those on new tire. Alan Cummin, Lucas Lodato, Tyler Hampton, top 3, they stay out. And it looks like they are committed to the one-stop call, which is how it all began for them, and they have decided not to move in any direction. DJ Stagner has gone 6-7 on the day, qualified in 6th, 1 spot down in 7th is where he runs, and thanks to a few drivers ahead of him making that move to sacrifice track position, that's why he finds himself here. So we'll see whether or not going down the pit road and getting new rubber is beneficial enough, or if instead staying out was the right decision. Honestly, if we're looking at the front of the field, I say guys like Kunman, no reason for them to come in. It would not make sense. Allen has been able to lead so far and do so commandingly so without having to concern himself for whatever equipment he has. So I would be shocked to say he has any reason to go in anymore. Unless, of course, he ends up with damage, which is unlikely from how he's run. Allen should be in a good spot to finish the job. One lap to green, this time by. Coming to 34 laps remaining here. Alan Cummins has led every lap to this point. Perhaps his biggest threat to that accolade is not a driver who runs in 2nd or 3rd, but the drivers who run from 14th down the ladder. Scott Wheeler and Chad Winstead, Dylan Poteet, Matt Muir, Bronson Stafford, Morrissey, Buchanan, or a Tom Bourne. They decided to go in, they're going to roll the dice, and we'll see whether or not they're able to surge through the field and get up to these front-running guys. Green flag's out, Allen Cummins, it's restart again, all him, back to business for the number 8. Huge restart for Allen again. Caleb Morrissey getting in the wall there briefly, but it looks like as he does so, no big problem. Caution's out though. Further back in the field, this one is going to involve Joey Chapman. Caution flies, take a look. Here's an instant replay to show you exactly how it went down. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Jim Fott slides first, Buchanan into Wedgwood, into the 98 of Joey Chapman, and Justin Baxter. So what a chain reaction that was. Take a ride on board with the number 4, Dawson Buchanan. And just a minor tap sends him up, and that little contact with Baxter at speed made the difference. Caution flies, and it looks like the yellow flags are now racking up time after time, and the more there are, the slower this race is going to go. Cautions breed cautions. That is a fact no matter where we race, and it looks like especially at the short tracks that is true. Had a good starting run, but unfortunately this field is no stranger to situations like this where the yellow flags will come so consistently. Kunman still leads. Matthew Rodriguez 10th to 8th on what has been a very silent but positive night. Kenny Brooks has gone from 31st, or rather 34th, the final of qualifying positions for any driver, and now he runs in 9th at the line. Unbelievable for Kenny, who has gone more than 25 places. A great race for Brooks. And if he can hold it down for the next 30-some laps, anything would be a big gain for him. And perhaps a hard charger award to remember. From all the way in the back of the field, running inside the top 10. coming to 1 to green. And it looks like it's going to be an extended restart, so we'll have to wait until the 29 lap to go marker to go at it again. That leaves Kunman with Lodato, but it looks like no matter who has gone up to the front and stepped against Alan Kunman, they have been very quickly dissuaded and have realized very fast why exactly he has led so many laps on the day. Still, possible that he leads each and every one of them, which is very rare to happen. It's rare even if you're very good, even if you're dominant, and even if you lead from mostly flag to flag and win. And the reason it is so rare is just because you have to also time out pit strategy. And going down to pit road at the right time is a critical thing. For Alan, he had everyone come down and basically follow his lead when the halfway yellow came out. It wasn't a scheduled caution, but it came right at the time where drivers were set to go down to pit road, and so it meant that, for his sake anyway, he didn't have to get himself involved with any of that timing. He was automatically locked in where he needed to be. "28 laps to go and we go green. Alan Kunman versus the field." That's been the story of the day so far. Jimmy McKee, 23rd to 9th, 34th up to 8th is Kenny Brooks. Brooks with a remarkable rise. Can he hang on? 3 drivers for Swamp Motorsport in the top 10 as well as Ryan Potter re-enters the picture. Alan Kunman just left it. Green flag's out. It's all his as we restart again. DJ Stagner way high on the 0-1 of Matthew Rodriguez. No dice right there. Everyone gets through. Double file. And so consistently we have seen that cycle of movement. Matt Muir in the 72 gets to the inside as the Brooks brothers make contact. Oh, Caleb Morrissey up into the wall. And looks like he went there voluntarily. Contact. Brooks, Wedgwood, Ty Smith, and another wreck that involves Dylan Poteet and company as well. Caution's out. Watch this. Now this one got bigger than I think it should have been. Starts with Wheeler there and Caleb Morrissey, then contact from Bronson Stafford to Terry Brooks. Buchanan gets away. Stafford goes up the track. Ty Smith makes contact. So does Poteet. And it looks like, again, both of the Wedgwoods involved. Dylan and Toby. Joey Chapman slides. Jim Fott, Seb Miller have contact. Blackerby. Nicholas Blackerby in the 13. He might just have the worst angle of it all. He had to come down to a dead stop just to get away from this. Rolling at a smooth 0 miles an hour just to avoid contact. For Blackerby, it keeps him with a cleaner car than all those who were involved at least, but it's going to slow him down immensely there and lose some momentum. He'll head down to pit road. One driver who doesn't, Alan Kunman. He will stay out. Kenny Brooks, even after getting shaken up there, will end up in 13th. Caleb Morrissey had a really bad run right there. And luckily, while he skated the outside wall, a few other drivers made notably harder contact. Less than 25 to go and we go green in a race of 150 laps. That is pocket change when it comes to the whole distance and scope of this race. Alan Kunman, I'm sure with a little bit more anxiety of what's to come, is watching those laps tick down and wonders when can he get out of here and call it a win. So far, at least, he's been able to call it his own with those restarts, but nothing is a guarantee because Lucas Lodato is right behind him, and Lucas, much like Scott Zellner behind him, they have been chasing. They are going to be relentless now if they can just get one chance. Tina Lodato rooting on the number 1 car. Defending champ, looking for his first win of the season, 5th of the year. It'll drop low. We're set now to go green with 21 laps remaining, and that'll be at lap 130 of 150. Caleb Morrissey, 30th to 14th, will line up just behind 34th to 13th in Kenny Brooks. Two big movers in your top 10. Jimmy McKee up 15 from 23rd to 8th. Scott Zellner up 21, 24th to 3rd. Great results for the both of them. I mean, without question. Double file as we go green. Here we go for Alan Cumming and the Mobil 1 Toyota Camry. Gonna crank it up this time by thanks to our friends at Whiplash SimCams. If you'd like to check them out, their Discord server provides free camera packages. And visit Whiplash SimCams on their social media platforms for iRacing's best up-to-date broadcast camera equipment. With 21 laps to go this time by, let's crank it up through the home stretch and get loud and proud from the action track. Brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Let's crank it up from Richmond, Virginia. With 16 laps remaining, Alan Cumming is still going flag to flag. I guess we gave a little bit of a spoiler in that pinned chat room message for those of you who've been watching along, but it's most a shock that he's been doing this from second place to begin. Mind you, he was not your pole position driver, but he has led practically from the second we got going. And I mean the second of it. 15 laps to go this time by. Alan Cumming is a second up on Lucas Lodato. DJ Stagner somehow got himself up into third. DJ has been out of the conversation for a while here, but it looks like the Swamp now have themselves a double podium as Scott Zellner loses that final spot. Roberto Ramirez seeing Chad Winstead and the caution. Yellow flags out. What's it? Oh, we got trouble. It's Bronson Stafford. Take a look at this. Cleaned out at the end of that run by Toby Wedgwood. We're going to rewind and show you why that happened. Rewind with Dylan and Toby. Wow, this is the common theme though. Whenever the 52 and 14 are around, And misfortune ensues. Stafford this time gets the worst end of it and slams the inside wall. Going to be heading down to pit road for service from here. Looking at what will be 10 laps to go. We set it green. A dozen to do it right now. And it'll be 10 at the very most for Lucas Lodato. DJ Stagner to chase after the man who has been for a while now up and in front. Nicholas Blackerby getting back on the lead lap. He's running in 27th as it stands, so he will get that fast pass through as your lucky dog, automatically setting him back up to the front of the circuit. Scott Zellner, 24th up to 4th, still 20 places gained, even if he doesn't end up with a top 3 run. So a race to ride home about as Matt Muir just went lawn mowing. And gets back on the track like nothing happened there. It at least appears the 72 team is fine, but diving down without any regard. The Matt Muir Designs Toyota Camry looks to be just fine to continue on, but a moment like that is confusing. Luckily, nothing malicious. Justin Baxter choosing to retire, leaving us with 27 now on the lead lap, the lowest number that we've had all night long. It'll be 9 laps to go at the absolute most now, as another yellow flag lap added into the picture. Up top going Alan Kunman. Lucas Lodato in second. You got drivers numbers 1 and 2 on the inside. The 8 and the 64. They're going to have themselves up top. Robert Kenny, despite his early shortcomings, has been able to make it back not only on the lead lap, but inside the top 15 discussion. And his end goal, it appears now, is going to be to try to go for the top 15, if not higher. Great to have Robert coming back. Kenny was a full-timer from season 15, 16. And we saw him sparingly between 17 and 18. Took last season off. And he's back once again, this time with some new backing. So looking to get those sponsors some more airtime and wrap up this night on a net positive. Eight to go for the number 8. As last time by, Lucas Lodato was scored as a lap leader, which by technicality breaks the Kunman lap lead streak. But I don't think that matters any longer. Allen's just looking to win it. Green flag. Let's get at it again. Alan Kunman back out in front. Now just looking to finish the job. Side by side between the 1 and the 64. Lucas Lodato now just able to steal a lap lead under caution. Now we're back under it again. We're going to have less than 3 laps to sort this out, as another yellow flag is going to bring us to the checkered, it appears. This is what you don't like seeing. The cautions have been very consistent over the last 30 laps or so. And it makes everything not only slower, but there's just less racing with it. And the yellow already out. Watch here from the back of the field to see what it was. Toby Wedgwood goes 1 lap down, and it appears he was involved in some tight racing. Yup, set down the way. That looks like race over. Some big front end damage for the 52. So for Toby, he'll head into pit road. 6 laps to go, and he's going to be effectively out of this one. Alan Cumming now is going to see even less time to finish the job than what it was before. We're at lap 146, and so it looks like we're only going to have 2 laps on this final run. A yellow flag would send us to our one and only overtime attempt, although it is highly unlikely that we are going to use it. No matter what here, it's going to be a green-white checkered situation to finish this race. Allen and DJ now occupying first and second places respectively. Lucas Lodato holding third. He's gone up 9 spots. Of course, was as high as up 10, although no longer does he hold that ultimate position right beside Cummins. So yes, it's going to be a 2-lap shootout to finish this race. Once we get to the white flag, it's official. Right now, anyway, of course, anything could happen. We can still get that one overtime attempt anyway. Double file all the way down, 26 on the lead lap. With one overtime attempt available, if we have a second caution after this, what we're very likely going to see is the race conclude. Timing and scoring automatically decide. That is if the second caution comes out. We have one caution that can occur without ending the race. We have another, the second of which, that will automatically bring it to an end. So drivers now have to be mindful. No matter what, it's a green-white checkered. It's a natural, as they will put it, attempt right now, hoping not to break it off and cause further issue. Cummins is looking to lead from flag to flag and has been the uninterrupted dominator of this race. And now it's only fitting that he wins it. But fitting doesn't mean that it should happen. Or it doesn't mean that it automatically will. DJ Stagner with one final chance keeps it as close as he possibly can to Stagner, of course. There's Allen coming on the high side. Green flag's out. 2 laps to go from Richmond. DJ's not yet led a lap all night long, but the stakes are higher than ever, and I think Cummins knows it. He doesn't get off the line like he did in all previous runs. Stagner is there, coming across the white flag. 1 lap to go. Cummins is feeling the pressure. Stagner's trying to deliver, but going through 1 and 2, Cummins skates high. He'll try to use the higher groove in the outside to put more power down. It's a drag race down the back straight. Advantage, just slightly, will be Cummins. DJ Stagner using that inner groove, trying to get the power off the outside line. Cummins skates! DJ Stagner still can't make it. 3/1000ths of a second. And Alan Cummins, in the closest short track finish in half a decade, wins at Richmond, leading every lap of this race, and he only wins by 1/8 of an inch. Nothing was guaranteed, and while he led every moment before, Stagner took him to the line and almost beat him to the punch. Well deserved for Alan Cummins, and hats off to Stagner for making it a fun fight until the checkered flag. Unbelievable finish. I mean, a moment like that happened so rare, and for Kunman, he got lucky, that's for sure, but in the way he did it, getting it all the way up to the high side of the track, skating, and still pulling it together. Wow. We're going to pull back the tape and show you race results right after this. Post-race coverage from the Highline Racing League will be back. From FTN Broadcasting, you're watching Richmond Raceway, and the ASC Services and Supply Premier Series will return right after this with a replay of that exciting finish.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Watch it back one more time, then we'll show you your race results. If you thought the white flag lap was close, which it was, it only gets closer. Kunman was evidently struggling on this one, and if it was any more time, even one more lap, I don't think he would have won it. DJ put down the perfect level of pressure, got an amazing jump off the restart, and I don't think Allen expected that anyone would be able to match him off the restart. He was so squirrely. All the restarts, not putting the heat in the tires, he pushed as hard as he can just to try to get a runoff. And you can see here, even as he shook, he kept it straight. Ended up banging down and into DJ Stagner once, but I think by this point, he wasn't even in control of what the car did. And he just hit Stagner at the opportune moment where it slows Stagner down, straightened him out, Kunman, and wins by that virtue. That's the type of luck you only get after leading 150 laps on the night. Alan Kunman wins unforgettably over DJ Stagner by 4/1000ths of a second, with Lucas Lodato third, Matthew Rodriguez fourth, and Roberto Ramirez P5. You'll next have Chad Winstead in sixth, seventh Matt Muir, and Scott Zellner eighth place, with Tyler Hampton and Jimmy McKee rounding up in the final spots of the top 10. 11th is Dylan Poteet, 12th is Adam Bozzi, 13th Tom Bourne, Dawson Buchanan in 14th, and Caleb Morrissey 15th place. Jim Fott, Kenny Brooks, Robert Kenny, Terry Brooks, and Josh Christman for the top 20. 21st is Joey Chapman, Sean Bill in 22nd, Seb Miller 23rd. 24th is Dylan Wedgwood, and Nicholas Blackerby goes 25th place, with Ryan Potter, Bronson Stafford, Toby Wedgwood, and Ty Smith all the way down to 29th. Your retirees go as follows, with Scott Wheeler 30th, 31st and Justin Baxter, Corey Blevins 32nd, and Jacob Halm 33rd place, Colton Gardner 34th and last. Unbelievable for Alan Kunman. Again, the timing ticker will show you 4/1000ths of a second, but upon official review, that was a little bit closer to just 3/1000ths. And even though it was a tight finish and about as close as it could ever be, Alan, from the second this race started, you dominated and led from end to end, although I'm sure you weren't particularly as confident on that coming to the line stretch. You still made it happen.
Yeah, that was the toughest restart all night, but got it done. Finally got a win here at my home track in this league I've been in for 14 years. So I'm glad to finally get that chip off my shoulder.
The restarts were what were, of course, the blood, of course, the life, the blood, the soul of this run. It started from the very beginning. You got the lead on the outside and took it from there. How important was it for you to time those jumps from your perspective anyway?
I felt like they played a little part. I tried to mix it up as much as I could, but with as many cautions as we had, I feel like the guys just kind of got a hold of the pattern I was doing on the restarts. So it started to, I felt like it started to bite me the last few restarts, but we were able to get away.
And by virtue of just getting away from the beginning, helps out perfectly going the distance. Now, one-stop race for you. You decide to keep the track and keep the track position with older rubber. What was it like having to manage that second stint? Maybe actually a little easier thanks to all the cautions, you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, the cautions, but yeah, it made it a little easier. I was still trying to save a little bit until like the last 20 laps or so because I felt like we'd finally, get a run to the finish, but we didn't. But I had to manage it. Had a couple guys behind us pit, and they were able to make their way back up through the field. And I just knew like if we got a 10 lap run, they were going to come up and pass all of us. So luckily for us, that didn't happen. Um, Overall, it was a good race up front at least.
And it culminates in that battle between you and DJ Stagner on the green-white checkered run that finished this race. What was that like for you from your perspective? Of course, looked exciting from the outside, but I'm sure you were feeling it even more.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, that was the toughest one I'd had all night. I was just trying to put two good laps together. I know I messed up turn one, I think, on one lap. Went in a little too hot, but just try to get myself back together and just just keep it together and come to the finish. I didn't know if I got it or not until my teammates told me. So
Just 3 thousandths of a second, the difference between victory and defeat. A wonderful win, and finally bringing it together in Virginia, as you said, for short track victory here in season 20. First win of the season, back on top again. You've been pretty good at the short track so far this year. We don't really know where we're heading next week. It could be another smaller track. It could be something bigger. It could be as big as Indianapolis, as a matter of fact. How are you feeling now with this win behind you?
better now that we got a win early on in the season. I feel like that's when we won Bristol last season too. Was kind of early on. I don't know for sure because I missed a lot of last season, but feel better for sure. Now I can just go have fun the rest of the season.
Leading all but one lap on this race. The only one you didn't lead was under caution, so give or take what that was. But you led from flag to flag, no matter how you slice it. Alan Cummin, any final shout-outs and messages you want to send out?
Yeah, I just want to dedicate this win to my mom. Last week found out she had cancer, so just thinking about her. Appreciate Terry for sponsoring the league. Uh, Everything Adam and everybody does behind the scenes. Appreciate you for putting it on. Uh, yeah, look forward to next week.
For Queen City Racing, Alan Cummin puts on a clinic, simply put, and it's dominance from start to finish to win from Richmond. Thank you for your time, Alan.
Thanks.
Coming on his way, DJ Stagner continues to defy even the expectations we have of him. He's back on the podium, and while he's already got a win, it looked like he was not shy about going for what could have been his second in 3 races. Only 4 1,000 short, DJ, but I still don't think for your case anyway, this was a disappointing race at all. I think it was exactly the opposite, do what you did and get there.
Yeah, so the story of my race is I qualified 6th or whatever and fell to like 15th after the first pit stop. And everybody was discussing their tire numbers, and they were at like, I don't know, 73 on the right front and 76 on the right rear or whatever. I was at 88 on the right front and 76 on the right rear. So the entire first run, I was chronically underdriving the car. So at that point, it became just go and just see what happens and use up more than I thought I had to. So yeah, that was just a miss on my part. But shout out to Alan. He ran literally a perfect race, right? He led all of them. So, that's tough to do. It's not an easy feat. So, he ran a great race, and I'm glad that we were able to race clean at the end. It was a great race. Nothing else to say about it. I'm happy for him, and he deserved that one, and just happy it all worked out for myself too.
So some critical adjustments from that first, and we were wondering, you had the qualifying speed and you fell back. You put it simply right there, under driving to begin with. So the cautions, I gotta say, that makes a different argument. Were you pushing significantly harder when the yellows came around, even compared to those first adjustments?
Well, the funniest thing about it, I don't even know what lap it was. I ran my personal fastest lap of the entire race. It was actually lap 150. Lap 150, the last lap, was my fastest lap of the race, and I was on, I don't even know, 80 lap old tires at that point, 90 lap old tires. So, it mattered, but I don't know. I guess just keeping the tires cool during cautions was the key, because they really didn't fall off that much, and I think just being aggressive and kind of figuring out where the limit was a big deal.
And of course, we can't go over this race for you without the final moments there, surging up into the moment. And the restart pressure you put on coming was so clear. Honestly, with the wiggle out of 4, I would have thought you had it there. Just came down to the line, and it was really too close to call. What was it like for you? How did you get that restart on the inside when everyone else before you failed?
Yeah, so me and Lucas were actually discussing it. I had noticed. Well, I don't really. I guess at least the last restart that I'd been up front, he had been going really early in the box. So I pretty much sold out and was going to go early. And if I jumped it, I jumped it. That's just, it is what it is. So, because I knew that was really the only shot I had to win, was to try to match him going into 1. So, yeah, I just sold out and wasn't even paying attention to what he was doing. And I just went fairly early. And luckily it worked timing wise. So, yeah, that was the key. That's what everybody that I saw was struggling on. They were getting beat in the acceleration, just because he was firing off like half a second earlier. So I knew that the only chance would be to match his fire off. So I just sold out. And if I got a black flag for jumping it, so be it. It is what it is. Luckily it worked out. He went pretty early, and I knew if I could get beside him, stay beside him through 1. I loved the way turn 1 felt. Knew there was going to be a chance, and it was made it interesting, that's for sure.
And as close as it was, of course, it's just another step in what's been a very good start for the season for the Swamp and the 64 team in particular. DJ Stagner, before we go racing once again, any final comments or shout-outs you'd like to leave us with here?
Just shout out everybody at Swamp Motorsports, Lucas, Ryan, Ty, Sevi, everybody over at JB Racing, that is Jim's Breakfast Racing, Josh Kreisman. I guess he's the only one, actually, so shout out Josh. We were in open channel today, and Roberto was in there with him, and that was a good time, so shout out Roberto. Looking forward to next week. I think it switched up. I think we're going to unique track now, I believe, instead of cookie cutter. So that'll be fun. I've always been a fan of that. That's probably been my favorite genre outside of super speedways. So we'll see what happens. Looking forward to it, and hopefully stay on this roll.
DJ Stagner, number 64 crew, a first place finish at Daytona, a second here in, of course, Richmond, Las Vegas in between, 2 podiums so far, and close again to a win. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
With Stagner on the move, it's going to be his teammate who is able to sneak in not only for third place after 9 spots gained, but also in an interesting category where Lucas Lodato led 1 lap today en route to a third place finish and getting it just barely under caution, that 1 lead lap, but otherwise a great race for you to go from the mid-pack and keep it in the fight for the race lead until the very end there. Lucas, how was it?
Yeah, it was good. I'll have to go back and look at when that was. Apologies to Alan for taking away the perfect race there, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't qualify very well. Practice it didn't feel great, but like once I actually got in the race, I felt like it would be something that would kind of suit my style. You know, having to control traction and roll the center, and I feel like I could be pretty decent at that. I just guess I needed to get a little bit more experience under me for that. And I made up like 6 spots off the start, I think, and then just kind of kept working my way up slowly. And then once I got up to the top 3, I really couldn't go anywhere. I was just, stuck. If I got up to second, then I would struggle. I couldn't beat Alan on the restarts. He was just at the bottom. He's just so much, so much control the race from the top, and then, from there, if someone gets a really good jump on the outside, they can easily pass you. So it's a tough deal with that. DJ did a really good job on that final restart to keep you behind him and to have a shot at the win. 3 1,000s is pretty freaking close. So good night overall for the Swamp. I can't really complain about how tonight went at all.
Now, of course, you mentioned traction control, which for the first time tonight, we saw drivers really actively warming their stuff up. Usually at these short tracks, the tires get sawed away, but we had fair conditions and a lot of yellow flags. So the difficulty, I guess, for you was just keeping them warm?
Yeah, I think just not really knowing how much different it was going to be every time you do the restarts, because it kind of became that towards the end. It's difficult when you have those starts and restarts and stops and cautions, and we had like a sort of decently long run, like a 10-ish lap long run right before the last caution, or maybe it was a little more, a little less, and like going into that restart, you have no idea what the tires are going to do. So, maybe you get a little bit more heat in them that way. It's just, I don't know if keeping them warm was the struggle, or the tires really weren't a limiting factor at any point. I think DJ ran the fastest lap of his race on his last lap, and it was really just dependent on the lap he put together. Like you said, the track was pretty cold and the conditions were really cool, so it really wasn't too difficult to keep tires underneath you as long as you weren't, John forcing it every time off the corner. So it was a weird deal, but all part of it.
All things considered, a strong way to bring the momentum back at our trickiest track type. These short tracks never come easy, and now the Swamp building momentum with a double podium run. We don't know where we're going exactly yet next week, but until that point, Lucas, is there anything else you'd like to send out here?
Yeah, I won't be here next week. I'll be up in Chicago at the Sim Gaming Expo, competing in the Open Wheel Challenge event there. So I won't be here next week. Hopefully, all my Swamp guys can do good, and I won't lose too much in the point standings. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. Thanks for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to my parents for watching. I think they were tuned in the whole race tonight. So really appreciate everybody's support, and thank the Swamp as always, and everybody who gets us here every week.
It's Lucas Lodato, third place for the Swamp Motorsports crew, second and third for the team, and the defending champ back on the podium steps. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
As now you heard from your podium sitters, Lucas Lodato being third, DJ Stagner being second, and Alan Cunman led through and through tonight from beginning to end and squeaks away with a 4 and really a 3 1,000th of a second victory. The closest margin of the season, the closest margin of the year. Highly likely it's going to go down as one of the closest all-time finishes in league history. That run to the end, that was an old-timer. With that being said, our next broadcast will be Saturday night with SNT returning to coverage. And of course, we'll have the Highline Racing League next Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place. If you enjoyed tonight's coverage, we hope you, of course, tune in for the future. Like the stream and subscribe to the channel. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. Thank you for watching, and of course, we hope you support our friends at ASC Services and Supplies, the premier partner of the Highline Racing League. Congratulations to Alan Cunman on his first win of the season. We hope you have a fantastic night and tune back in for our next broadcasts. You've been watching FTN Broadcasting. We hope you have a fantastic night.